It is known that Orthodox Christians constitute the majority in Russia. But are all Russians Orthodox? How many Orthodox Christians are there in Russia? Well, the first question is easy to answer because I have mentioned a lot of other religions and especially other Christian communities in Russia on my channel. The second question is much trickier. The major problem with identifying the exact number of Orthodox Christians in Russia is the vague criteria the Church herself has. Before the decree of the separation of church and state in 1918, the Orthodox Church, apart from religious, performed a lot of important bureaucratic functions. One of them was the formal registration of births, marriages, and deaths. Every child was officially registered through the sacrament of baptism and hence became at least formally a member of the Orthodox Church. There were exceptions made for ethnic minorities and foreigners of other faiths, but for most of the population, Orthodox baptism indicated both official registration as a Russian subject and the membership in the Church. In modern Russia, the Church is still formally separated from the state, and officially only state secular registration of births, marriages, divorces, and deaths is recognized. Religious people are also free to perform any ritual or partake of any sacraments according to their faith. Baptism, however, is a weak indicator of membership in the Church because most get baptized as infants and may not participate in church life or even believe in God at all. Apart from baptism, many demographic and sociological research institutions conduct censuses of various kinds. They either directly ask which religious group or organization one identifies with, or additionally also ask such questions as how often do you attend religious services, how often do you pray or read the holy book of your religion, or how important is the role of religion in your life. All these questions may work for conventional forms of Christianity, Islam and Judaism, but not for minority faiths, including Christianity. For instance, many evangelical Protestants see the word religion as something superficial, legalist and Pharisaic as opposed to faith. Nevertheless, as you can imagine, in the context of a majority religion with a millennium-old history, many would identify with it as a part of their cultural, national, family, or even ethnic background, without going too deep into theology and practice. Sometimes the number of people identifying with Orthodox Christianity is bigger than those who say they believe in God. Russia is not unique in that respect. Consider Roman Catholicism in Italy or Spain, or Islam in Turkey, for instance. The stricter criteria we apply, the smaller percentage of the population we get as Orthodox Christians. The biggest problem with that is that once we apply any criteria apart from self-identification, the number drops embarrassingly significantly, from 60 to 70% to about 2 or 3%. The most radical drop occurs when we apply criteria from the Orthodox Catechism, namely regularly partaking of the sacraments of confession and Eucharist, also known as the Lord's Supper. When it comes to the Church, they claim different numbers for different ideological purposes. When the Patriarch or his key bishops speak publicly, they often refer to big numbers, sometimes even exaggerating them, and claiming that the non-Orthodox population should also acknowledge the enormous historic and cultural influence of Orthodox Christianity in Russia. But what about other Christian communities? Are there Russian Christians who are not Orthodox? Before answering this question, let us remember the Orthodox Christians who do not belong to the Russian Orthodox Church. Apart from the minority Orthodox communities split from the Moscow Patriarchate due to ideological or theological reasons at different points in history, there are, of course, Old Believers. On my channel I have a video dedicated to this big umbrella of communities. There are many various churches, concords and groups of Old Believers. Many do not even recognize each other as authentic Christians. What they all have in common, however, is the schism of the 17th century, when many believers, led by a group of married priests, rebelled against the ecclesiastic reforms of Patriarch Nikon. Their number is very hard to estimate. Let us just say that the biggest all-believers church, led by Metropolitan Cornelius, counts about 1 million members. Although not Christians, it is very important to note that the proportion of Muslims in Russia is one of the biggest in the world among the Christian majority countries. Second only to Ethiopia, the Russian population is from 10 to 16% Muslim. Roughly every sixth Russian citizen is Muslim. The Catholic Church in Russia is historically not that big and significant. Due to centuries of rivalry with powerful Catholic neighbors such as Poland, Lithuania, France, and so on, Catholics have not always been welcome in Russia. Traditionally, most Catholics were of a foreign origin, yet after the collapse of the Soviet Union, there has been a significant growth of neophytes from the local Russian population. See a video about Russian Catholics on my channel. Protestants are traditionally much better represented in Russia. Already in the 16th century, many merchants and craftsmen from Protestant countries, mostly Germany and the Netherlands, settled in big Russian cities. Moreover, Lutherans had such a great influence on Russian society and state that most emperors, starting with Peter the Great, were either married to a Lutheran princess from Germany or Denmark, or grew up Lutheran themselves. Of course, before assuming the throne or marrying a future emperor, they formally converted to Orthodox Christianity and took Russian names. One of the most active and numerous branches of Protestantism in today's Russia is evangelicals, also known as born-again or Bible-believing Christians. Baptists, Pentecostals, and Seventh-day Adventists emerged in Russia about 150 years ago. They survived harsh persecutions and anti-religious campaigns of the 20th century, and nowadays they are actively engaged in missions, evangelism, and social support. See a video about them on my channel. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, various charismatic and neo-Pentecostal movements started to emerge. They are very diverse and different in theology and lifestyle. There are other minority groups that self-identify as Christians. Many of them experience a new wave of persecutions and are labeled as extremists and foreign agents. The most significant group is Jehovah's Witnesses, which before the ban of 2017 counted about 170,000 members. See a video about persecutions of Jehovah's Witnesses on my channel. To sum up, Russia is one of the most diverse countries in the world when it comes to ethnicities, cultures, languages, and religions. Many people native to vast Russian lands have very different religious beliefs and identities. Although the dominance of the Russian Orthodox Church is evident, the religious diversity of Russia is very rich, colorful, and fascinating. Please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. I see you all next time.